Well, good evening, YouTube. Oh, and right on cue, the minute I start talking, the dog pops up. Lie down, Cooper. Lie down. Come on. Come on, lie down and be quiet. Little devil. I'll do my usual chat to myself for 15 minutes, and then I shall start regaling you all with the wonderful and mysterious tale of Travis Walton and the alien abduction from the 1970s. So I will apologise in advance because I'm probably going to need several bathroom breaks because I'm drinking loads of water at the moment and it is going through me like a Ferrari. So at least to know my kidneys are working. And it's just started to rain here. It's very, very muggy, very close. I don't know what it's like in the rest of the UK. It's been quite overcast today, but very humid. I took the dog out to the... Hiya, Julia. Oh, I'm glad you've made it. I'm glad you've made it in. This is I tell you what, it'll be quite interesting, this one, comparing to your son's experiences and your own. So I hope you enjoy this one. So this is about the Travis Walton, who was apparently abducted by aliens in the 1970s. Hello, Simples, my beautiful. Denny! Yo, 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 way up, chick. Hope you're well. Quick eye before you get into the story, not long in from work and blooming knackered. Janet, hello. Denny, I'm going to drop you a text and see when you're up for coming up, because Uncle P rang me last night and she wants to come up on panel again. I've told her so long as she doesn't swear, but she just wants to come up on a chit chat shizzle night and wants you to be there as well because she loved it on New Year's Eve. So if you're up for that one, I'll try and find out when it's best for you. So, but yeah, I thought we'll just do a general chat one night again, like we did the last time when, you know, you and I were up on panel just talking shizzle. If you fancy it anyway, no pressure. But yeah, Uncle P was like, I really like her. So that would be cool. Glad you made it tonight, Janet. And I hope you enjoy this one. Yeah, Julia, I hope it will be interesting for you. Like I said, for the comparisons more than anything else. So I'll just do my usual meaty and greety for 15 minutes. Hopefully the dog will be quiet. He is lying down at the moment, but obviously Porky is getting ready for to go to work. He's on nights, so the dog may start boinging around and being an absolute nut when Daddy's leaving. Oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be fab. Yay, Uncle P. We will sort a time for sure, my lover. We'll drop a text. Oh, brilliant, Denny. That's great. I mean, I was thinking, you know, I don't know how you fix, maybe like a Friday night or something, if that's better for you, or a Saturday. I will cater it. She can do it anytime, and I'll cater it to suit you. So, yeah. Oh, no, but that would be really good because, you know, that was, apart from obviously me having to take that live down, it was a really, really fun night, especially with all the accents and everything. And I know we've got a few people who've joined the channel more recently. So like Julia, Kathy, Janet, Starlight, I think Meadow joined since then. I can't remember, but they won't have had the pleasure of Uncle P. So yeah, I just think it'll be quite a funny night, especially because there's so much drama going on YouTube at the moment. I just think it's nice to have a little bit of escapism and a giggle and chat shizzle. But I'm made up to see you, bird. I really am. Janet says, thank you. Sure, I will. Well, I hope so, because I find it quite a fascinating story. You know, and obviously it's down to everybody to make, you know, you make your own minds up on what you think. And You know, we all, this is what I like about people here in the chat, because we can all agree to disagree on you know, on different things. It's like with the Dogmen chats, we've all got our own theories. We've all got our own theories on Bigfoot and ghosts and Ouija boards and aliens. So, and I like that. And you know, everybody's always really respectful. Denny says, I've changed my hours again at work, working most weekend mornings. Would it be a hassle to do a Sunday evening or midweek? No, not at all, Den. Not at all, my darling. Could do a Sunday, because I've started trying to get back into the swing of doing 3 a week, you know, because I let it lapse while I was moving house. So I'm doing one on a Wednesday, obviously, as we are here tonight. So I'm quite happy to chuck a Sunday night one in. You let me know whenever's all right for you, because I'm flexible with my working. I get up early regardless of whether I've slept or not, because I've got to see to the horses before work. So midweek's fine, weekends are fine. You let me know when's fine for you, chicken, and then I'll just get Uncle P and we'll arrange it that way. How's that sound? Yeah, Janet, can't believe all the drama. It's like playground crap. I just don't see why. Yeah, it's irritating, but you know, just let it go. Let it go, let it go. I was a bit out of the wrong key there for that one then. But yeah, I can't be, when I'm dealing with drama, I get, I find myself getting worked up. And it's just not good for your soul, is it? I'd rather just be light-hearted and giggly. Denny, yep, I'll text you. Thanks, sweet. Looking forward. Yeah, sounds perfect. Thank you. Yeah, do you know what? I think we should do a bit of a karaoke that night as well, Denny. I'll try and get me Porky. Hopefully, if I can get him on a night where he's not working at night, then yeah, we'll have a bit of a sing-song. Because I've been listening this week. Don't laugh at me, because my musical taste, it's it's very varied, shall we say. So I can listen to Viking death metal 1 minute, and then like today I've been listening to Harry Connick Jr. So yeah, I've been listening to the old Harry Connick this week and enjoying him. Yes, I will do my Julia Child singing voice. You will love it. Oh, you love Matt. Well, you've heard mine, haven't you? When I sing happy birthday to everybody. I sound like a cat that's got a vibrator shoved down its throat. Now there's a visualization for you. So yes, and I'm hoping. Kathy, hiya, sweetheart. I just mentioned you actually. How are you doing? How are you getting on with your move and packing up, and are you still having traumas and looking at stuff and walking away like I did? I couldn't remember, Kathy. Were you here on New Year's Eve for the whole Uncle P debacle? When I had I think I had 4 or 5 people up on panel, and we had enough trying to get on, and I think she was pissed, wasn't she? And she couldn't get a link, and oh yeah, it was just really, really funny. And then Uncle P came up doing all the accents. I can't remember if you were here or not. But anyway, just in case you haven't had the pleasure of Uncle P, she rang me last night, so she wants to come up again. So we're just trying to sort it with Denny, because obviously Denny's hilarious. I love having our Den up on there. There she is. Hi, Kathy, and hi to anyone I missed. Yeah, Denny, you might not know Janet. Janet's come over from, we know her from BAMS. So I think I'd probably only seen Janet a couple of times in there, but Janet's new to the, like, coming into the channel. So, there you go. Hi, Janet. So yeah, nice getting new faces, and obviously, you know, Julia and Kathy. I'm trying to think, who else new have we got? You know, Starlight, don't you? Sam keeps popping in from time to time. I know I'm Westwood keeps. Hello, bedtime clown. I'm Frida. Hi, everybody. Oh, it's party time. Bedtime. I was just saying then, will you remember New Year's Eve with Uncle P getting up and doing all the accents and what have you? We're going to do another live. She's going to come up. She's promised me she won't get me my video taken down again for swearing. How long that'll last, I don't know. But yeah, it should be funny. Give us all a bit of a giggle. Please give my love to Voodoo. And if she's listening, Voodoo, hi, darling. I was thinking about Voodoo before Bedtime Clown because I was listening to, like I said, I'm going a bit weird with my musical taste. I was listening to Harry Connick Jr. Now, doesn't he come? He comes from New Orleans, doesn't he? Or I might have got that wrong. I was sure that Voodoo had told me he hailed from the set because I know she said Britney Spears was one, but I'm sure she'd mentioned Harry Connick Jr. So I was listening to him anyway, and I thought of bedtime of Voodoo Queen. So I'm glad you've popped in, so you can ask her that one for me. Right. Well, I think because we've got quite a few of you in, I shall start off with tonight's. If everybody's said, actually, I really like your photo bedtime. Let me put this up. Oh, don't worry, don't worry. Oh God, that's a scary effing photo. Bedtime. Oh, I don't like them eyes. Oh, they're dogman eyes. Ooh. Yeah, well, Voodoo isn't gonna like me very much because I have got I don't know if you heard the other night, I've found some stories. Go to bed. That's a really scary, yeah, that's horrible that. Go to bed, Cloud. I've got some stories, dogmen stories for green eyes in Australia, but I've also found loads of them going on in Texas. And I thought she's going to hate my guts because she'll be getting a bit freaky deaky sitting out on the deck with you having a smoke of a night just in case you hear things or see things in the bushes. So yeah. Maybe I don't know. I was going to say maybe pass that on to her. She might not want to listen, but I'll make sure it's in the title. If you Google "Go to Bed Clown," he comes up. Back before memes were a thing. Oh, I couldn't look at that. I really couldn't look at that bedtime. That is some mad bed head hair. Do you remember? Anybody remember Papa Lazarou from the League of Gentlemen? You guys in the States won't recognize this one, but it was a comedy over here, and Papa Lazarou, and it was kind of do you remember so it was blackface humor. He was kind of done up like one of the black and white minstrels. That's it, simple. Yeah, well, didn't I do? The thing is, I got a 7-day suspension on Twitter for that, which I'll tell you about in a minute, because I actually didn't mean it racist. Okay, but you know the hello Dave, you're my wife, Dave. It was that oh, what was his name? Oh, what's that flipping black politician, the Labour politician? David. Oh, damn it, I can't think of his name now. But hello, Sid. How are you? How are you this evening? And please say hello to the lovely Nancy. Yeah, that's the one. You're my wife now. Do you want to buy some pegs, Dave? That's him. Thank you, Sid. David Lammy. Well, David Lammy was mouthing off some utter shit on Twitter, and people were just, they were trolling him, and they were like, "All right, gobshite." Well, I put on and just put "Hello, Dave" with a picture of Papa Lazarou. Oh my God. I got jumped on because they're all going, "You fucking racist bitch." I'm going, no, I didn't mean it racist. It was like Papa. I didn't even think about it being the blackface humour. That just shows me my naivety, I suppose. But yeah, I just meant it as in the hello, Dave. And yeah. that backfired on me. So yeah, but then obviously because I'm protesting my innocence, it sounded like I was more guilty than I actually was, but I genuinely didn't mean it racistly. It just was the "Hello Dave" thing. Anyway, right, so without further ado, or what is it that Casper Sight says? Without further ado, Diddly Day, let us get into the Travis Walton story. And Sid, Denny, everybody else, bedtime who wasn't here, on Friday, I'm covering, we'll do Incognito again, but I'm actually going to cover Skinwalker Ranch in America, just to give you a little bit of advance warning. So that's our topic for Friday, and it covers everything. Skinwalker Ranch has got everything going on there for those of you that don't know about it. I think it was it Green Eyes or Frida? One of you reckon that there was probably a, that you thought there was possibly a portal there, interdimensional portal. There are UFO sightings, there have been alien sightings, there have been skinwalker sightings, dogmen, cattle mutilations, abductions. Yes, Janet, very freaky. We were talking the other day as well about, I think it was Eternal Flame mentioned when Ghost Adventures went out there as well. I remember watching that at the time. Really spooky place. So we're going to do a thing on Skinwalker Ranch on Friday. So that should be quite good. So let me introduce you to Travis Walton. And I'll keep stopping it so that we can, because you know what I'm like, if I get myself a little bit distracted by reading chat. So what I'll do is I'll read for a couple of minutes and then I'll come back to chat and check if there's anything, anybody's asked a question, or if I don't answer it, please type your question in again just in case I've missed it. So, Travis Walton, and this is probably, I would say, the most convincing and the most, yeah, I was going to say one of the most, but no, I would say is the most convincing and well documented alien abduction stories of all time. Now, it happened back in 1975. Travis is still with us. He was 22 years old at the time. He has done multiple interviews. There have been 2 films made about it. I understand he's going to be doing another film, but I'll mention that a bit later. He's written books. He has been a guest on, did anybody ever listen to Art Bell? I don't think he's with us anymore, Art Bell, but he used to cover a lot of the freaky stuff that goes on across America and the world. And he's been a guest on Art Bell's podcast. MUFON have had him as a guest, all sorts of things. Really, really interesting guy. Very sincere. Now, but like anything, he gets, he's had his share of ridicule. He's had his fair share of people disbelieving him, trying to debunk everything he says. And he's never wavered from his story. It's not changed. He's stuck to his guns, stuck to his story. Sorry, bear with me. And there goes the dog because Pork is in the kitchen. Stop it. Stop. Go back to sleep. Okay, so now this happened. The location for this abduction was, it's a place called Apache Sitgreaves National Forest, which is near a place called Snowflake in Arizona. And I know Sid is a little bugger, isn't he? We all shout at the same time, Cooper. So Travis, 22 years old at the time, and he was part of a logging crew, and there were 7 of them all together. They had been given the contract to go up into this Apache Sitgreaves National Forest and do some logging. and they'd go up for days at a time. His friend Mike was basically, he was the crew boss, and he would get these contracts, get together a crew, and off up they'd go. And for the most part, they all kind of got on. There was a bit of tension between Travis Walton and another guy, Alan Dallas. I think he was a bit of a rum guy, you know, a bit of a drink, a bit of a Billy Battler, and a bit of a bullshitter. I think he had like a criminal record, as in petty crimes, nothing major, but he and Travis just, yeah, they didn't get on. They didn't get on at all. And I think they'd had a few little dust ups over the course of the few days that they were up there on this particular logging contract. Now, they'd completed the few days and then set off to head back into town, you know, to have a couple of days of R&R, stock up on supplies, and then head back up into the forest to continue with the logging contract. So they had worked a full day. I think during that day there'd been another dust up between Travis and this Dallas guy. I think Dallas had it was just being a bit of a dick, and he cut a tree down that fell narrowly missing Travis, and he did it to scare him. Like I said, it did miss him, but you know, Mike was getting a bit frustrated over this tension on the crew, and he's like, you know, you can pack it in, you keep your shit together till you're off this job, but when you're on the job, you're working and blah blah blah. And so that had already been going on. Now they all get into the truck, which is driven by Mike, and they start to head back through the forest to get back down to the town. And it's dark at this point, you know, they've had a full day of logging, they've been packing their equipment up. Hot job. Oh my God, I've been up 30 seconds and I'm still waiting for my brew. I log in here and catch you talking. Do I have to do everything? You're a lie teller. Please, nobody take him. Just don't take him on. He got a brew took up at 8 o'clock, and then he had his tea in bed, bloody stroganoff, homemade. So don't let him fool any of you. He won't get anybody looking after him like I do, the cheeky bugger. Are you in the kitchen? Stop. Stop it. Stop. There is a justification. I'm an Aries. You know, everything gets justified. You might be in the kitchen. Okay. Well, if you are, do the pots. No, I'm just joking. I'll do them when I finish this live stream. Frida says, hiya. They keep asking about your haunted shizzle. I said maybe we might, you know, maybe we can try and do something. I don't know, next weekend when we don't have the child of Porky, but you never know. Yeah, Frida, I did. I made a keto version of it. So, and I thought it tasted pretty damn good, to be honest. It was very yummy. Mate, because I can't have a brew, Sid. I'm on the keto, so I've just got a bottle of water. So it's getting out of it that way. But obviously, over the last couple of days, the use of tea bags and milk has plummeted dramatically because I've normally got the kettle going all the time. Anywho, I shall get back to my story. So they're all in the car, this truck, 7 of them in the truck. They're driving down through the forest. You know, they're having a bit of a light-hearted banter. They're looking forward to, you know, kicking back for a day or two, going having a few beers down at the hang on, Denny. Yo, Porky. Hope you are well. Milk and a half of sugar, please. Oh, how's your diet going, Denny? I'll spend the next 5 million. I know it's a rare thing that we've got Denny and pork chop and bedtime clowning at the same time. So, anywho, so they're all in this truck. They're coming down through the forest. We'll probably have another little interruption in a minute, but I'll get out what I can at the moment. They're in this truck. They're heading down through the forest. It's dark. And as they're coming, and now bear in mind, these are like single track forest roads. It's pitch black. The only light they've got is from the headlights. And as they're coming down, they notice that there is something off over to the side glowing. And initially they think it is a forest fire. You know, that kind of red glow. And they see this, and they're thinking it's possibly a forest fire. Right, I'll have 1 second while I answer Denny. I'm still getting less fat, been working out, eating salad like it's going out of fashion, on a plateau at the moment, losing inches but slow, half a pound at a time on the scales the last few weeks. Anyway, I'll leave you all in peace. Some of us have work to do. Yes, I work through the daytime, you work through the nighttime. Between us, we get sorted. Denny, try a bit of intermittent fasting if you can, because that can kickstart a plateau. Just a thought. So anyway, this glow, and as they get closer and closer, they then realise, and they slow down because they come to a clearing and they can see that this is not a Was ist das? Oh, don't be speaking German to him, he'll start off then. Oh, hang on a second, it's here. What are you looking for? You want? Okay. If it's the pad, it's near the microwave. Yeah, but I do. He was wandering around looking a bit lost with a pen in his hand. How long do you reckon? And through the day, you mean? I don't midnight snack. Well, it's anything. You just give yourself an eating window. So you could do kind of just have an 8-hour eating window and 16 hours where you don't eat, but part of that is made up of you sleeping as well. So I'm doing 16-8 at the minute. So I'll have my first calories. You don't have any calories at all outside of that eating window. So that my first calorific intake is at 11 o'clock in the morning. And then I've got 8 hours. And in those 8 hours, I can eat and do whatever. Frida says he's Porky looking for his Peaky Blinders flat cap. No, he should know where it is. So I know, sorry, Sid. Yeah, right. So they're in this fucking truck again. Right. So they're in this fucking truck. They come down to, I'm not gonna get distracted with chat again for a few minutes. I'll just get this bit out. Right. So as they approach the clearing, they then look over. They pull over and they notice that there is what looks like a large craft. Don't laugh at me. A large craft hovering above this clearing. Now, it's probably, at this point, it's about 100, 150 feet away from them. And it's emitting this high-pitched, like a humming, buzzing sound. So they're all like, what the fuck is that? And for some reason, known only to himself, Travis gets out of the truck and says he wants to go over and have a look at it. So, go figure. Everybody's just like, what the hell?
Haven't gone anywhere, don't worry.
Have you not? Saying bye-bye?
No, you thought I'd fucked off.
I did. I was just saying ta-ra. So, you can listen to me before you start work. No, Cooper, we're not playing. So, he... Cheeky bugger, go to work. I'll see you tomorrow. So he gets out. The rest of them are in the truck and they're going, Travis, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, no, I just want to go and have a look, So they're all sitting in this truck looking at him, absolutely horrified. And because, the UFOs, they weren't really, it wasn't really a thing. People didn't talk about it. You had your science fiction programs, and they depict a flying saucer. But it wasn't really spoken about that much or discussed like it is these days. So they're just like, what the hell is that? And Travis is underneath it. And the next minute, this beam of light comes down. It hits him. And he just, bang, is straight over on his back. And he's out of it. And they're all shouting at him, Travis, Travis, Travis. And he does nothing. He's just comatose on the floor. They think he's dead. So they literally foot to the, pedal to the metal and, get the buck out of Dodge. They're screwing down this mountain track. And when they get a bit of a distance away, and Mike stops the truck and he's like, we can't leave him. We need to go back for him. We need to go back. Now, this was something that, because there have been some movies, and Travis himself has said there were some inconsistencies in the movies. This is one of them that I'm going to discuss now. When they went back, his body wasn't there. But, now this is Travis's version, not the movie version. They saw this craft, was away. And he wasn't there anymore. In the movie, they get back and there's just no sign of him or the craft. But the actual facts were that the guys did see the craft departing and no sign of him. So they just have no idea what to do, what to say. They get down into the town. They're all in complete shock. I know he's got his squeaky toy. He said it's because Daddy gone to work. There he is. He's making alien noises. Actually, no, that's the sound that my bum would have been making, squeaky, squeaky, if I'd seen something like that. So he's doing sound effects tonight, is the dog. Okay, so the guys boot it down into the town. They get into the bar and they are just all shook up and like, what the hell do we do? What the hell do we do? Oh my God, what was it? And, even this tough guy, this Alan Dallas, who's like the tough guy of the group, even he's just, they're all shitting themselves. They haven't got a clue. What do we do? Who do we tell? So they do then tell the sheriff. Now, in the film, it's quite funny because the sheriff is played by, oh God, what was his flipping name? Garner, who played, do you remember the Rockford Files? Was it Jim Garner? James Garner? Him anyway. He plays the sheriff in the film. I think the film was made in 1973 and it's actually called Fire in the Sky. I can recommend it if nobody has seen it. There are some embellishments which Travis has pointed out, and I will tell you about those just in case, anybody wants to watch the film, and I can tell you what actually happened as opposed to what is shown in the film and the reasons why. Travis was aware that this was going to happen, but he likes to point out that, this was a little bit of artistic license involved. So the sheriff doesn't believe a damn word that they're saying. That's it, James Garner. Thank you, Fried. I thought it was. Because I watched him in a film the other night, Support Your Local Sheriff, which was a bit of a funny one from, I think that was like the 1970s. I quite like older films. So the sheriff doesn't believe a damn word that they're saying. He thinks there's been a fight. He thinks that they're covering something up. They decide to actually say what's happened. So they're telling him that there was this thing and it shot a beam of light at him and he hit the floor and it killed him, and we all booted off. And when we came back, he'd gone. The sheriff is thinking, yeah, me arse. What they've done is they've actually murdered this guy and disposed of his body somewhere. And now they're trying to cover the tracks. So there is guys go out from the town. You know, they get together a search party. They get tracking dogs, you know, that will work for. So you've got your dogs that go after cadavers. You've got the scent dogs, bloodhounds, you name it, they've got it. And out they go looking for Travis. Mike and the I think one of the other guys, they take them back up to the spot to show them you know, where this had occurred. The dogs cannot find a trace of the scent. And the one thing it reminded me of was, you remember with the missing 411, anybody who listens to David Paulides, where they say that the dogs, whenever somebody goes missing, the dogs can't follow they either can't follow or they won't. They'll either lie down because they don't want to follow any further and look visibly distressed, or they will get onto a scent, they'll start to track, and then it's just as though it's vanished into thin air. Well, this is what's happened with Travis. The dogs, they were sniffing around where he'd lay. There was no scent going anywhere else. So again, you know, the guys are trying to say, well, this supports what we do. You know, what we've said. Nothing. Word starts getting around the town over the course of the next few days. They're not believed. The sheriff, I'll be honest with you, the sheriff was a bit of a knob. He really suspected these guys. He didn't want to listen to any explanations, even despite the fact that Mike was a really good friend of Travis. They were looking at Alan Dallas because he obviously had some animosity towards him. He had the criminal record. They're like, nah, he's a shady mofo. He's done it. The sheriff was down on him like a ton of bricks. In the end, they all agreed to do a polygraph test as to what they'd seen and what had occurred. So all 6 of them went and voluntarily subjected themselves to polygraph tests. And they all passed, apart from Alan Dallas. And the only reason that Alan Dallas didn't pass, so the other 5 guys all passed, saying that they'd seen an alien craft, he'd been zapped by this beam of light, and his body was gone when they went back. They all passed. Alan Dallas didn't pass. However, he didn't pass because it was incomplete. He got up partway through the test, basically said, fuck this, and left because he knew that the sheriff was trying to pin it on him. So that's the only reason that Dallas didn't pass. It wasn't for any other reason other than he, you know, disconnected himself from the machine and bogged off. So there are meetings going on in the town. All of these guys are being treated like pieces of shit, basically. The logging contract has been taken away from Mike, so he's now, you know, how are we going to pay our bills? You know, he's got a wife and a young family. That they're, you know, he's like, I'm not going to be able to make my mortgage payments. And I've done nothing. I don't deserve it. People in the town are calling them murderers. They're at town hall meeting, and you know they're getting abused. And then, so this had happened. So Travis had gone missing on the 5th of November, 1975. On the 10th of November, 1975, there is a phone call, and this phone call was made from a phone box, and it was Travis, and he didn't have a damn clue where he was. And they're all like, what the hell, we thought you were dead, where are you? He thought he'd been missing for 4 or 5 hours. He just thought it was a 4 or 5 hour time loss. He was actually missing for 5 days and 6 hours in total. Now, what had happened, if you bear with me a second, I've just got to get my notes because I'm trying to find the actual place it was at. It was, let me have a little look. Sorry about this, because the Heber, Heber in Arizona. He woke up at the side of the road in Heber, Arizona, which is, a good few miles away from where he'd gone missing. Sorry, from where he lived. I think it was nearer to where he'd gone missing. But he woke up, and as he woke up, he said he woke up to see a craft disappearing above him and shooting off into the sky, and it was like a mirror looking craft. Okay. Oh, hiya Sheila, how are you doing, love? Good to see you. You haven't missed that much. You've only been going half an hour. Did he have a medical one? Yes, he did, Janet. Oh, this is a great story you tell. Oh, thanks so much, Sid. Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you. I guess I haven't so late to the party. No problem, Jules. Lovely to see you, love. Like I said, we've only been going half an hour. So, not much for you to catch up on. Now, like I said, he'd seen this craft vanishing, this mirrored looking craft. He was dressed, but all his clothes were on backwards, like back to front, which suggested that he had been undressed at some point and somebody not used to clothing had put it back on him again. Now, does anybody remember what that sounds like? Do you remember we've talked about, there was one of the missing 411 cases? I watched a YouTube video about this the other week. Fabulous story. It's really good, isn't it? And I'm looking forward to having a bit of a discussion about this with you all and seeing what you think. Oh, hi Frida, good to see you too. Yeah, the clothes are all on back to front, Frida, and this thing was, yeah, there was the one with the trainers, Simples, and also, do you remember Sigmund Adamski, the guy who was found dead on top of the coal pile? He had some clothing on, like back to front, as though it wasn't how somebody who knew how to dress themselves would have dressed. That would have got the other guy out of being accused. Yeah, but the thing is, Julie, they still didn't believe them. Sounds like a great Saturday night out. That's what it sounds like. Or going missing for 5 days. So when he wakes up, he sees this craft going off. He doesn't realise where he is. He staggers along the road and he finds like a gas station. I think the gas station was closed, but he has got there's a phone box there, and that's when he rings home. He phones his family. Now, then he was met with utter shock and disbelief when they were like, "You've been gone for 5 days. You've been gone for 5 damn days." So they arranged to go, where are you? We'll come and get you. Now, when they got him, he was immediately taken to the hospital. And after doing some tests, they found that he was dehydrated, and they noticed a puncture wound on his right arm. In the 5 days he'd been missing, he'd lost 12 pounds and had grown 5 days worth of facial hair. Now, regarding the puncture wound on his right arm, I listened to, it was the Art Bell podcast that Travis was talking about, and he said, at the time, he didn't think anything of this puncture wound because he thought, it could have been logging. It could have been, a little twig that's hit me, or, a thorn off a tree. Hi and bye all. I have alcohol to drink. Make me. Yeah. Techno notice isn't drinking it, he's making it. Night, sweetheart, and I shall see you in the morning. Oh, let me know. Sorry, guys. Let me just check. Send me a text if you want the bath doing, or if you're gonna stick with the shower. Sorry, I usually run him. I run him a bath for when he gets home because it takes ages. Put chop. I put my coat on back to front when I was out on a bender years ago. I was trying to find my pockets. Oh, Frida. I took the dog for a walk last weekend and I'd put my top on back to front. I kept wondering, well, it felt a bit weird. Yes, I thought that, Janet, an implant. And this was years later, but he genuinely said at the time, because nobody knew about things like this, alien probes and implants and experimentation. He is making moonshine, Denny. It's the good stuff. Hang on, sorry about this. This dog is crying for some reason. What's that? Oh, he's dropped his little squeaky toy down the side of the sofa. There you go. Have it back. Spoilt rotten bath, please. No problem, sweetheart. So he didn't think of anything like like having an implant or being injected with anything, because he also didn't have full memories. The memories of what had happened to him started coming back to him over the course of the next few days. So it wasn't something that straight away he went, no, this is what happened to me. And one of the things as well that you need to know is that this was one of the most extensive searches in Arizona history that went on for him. It was like no stone left unturned, that, no holds barred, no expense spared. It was the most extensive search in Arizona state history. So it's worth bearing in mind that, they were absolutely determined to find this guy. Anyway, I'm going to tell you about what started to come back to Travis. So what he was saying was that, he remembered the beam of light hitting him. He remembered that much. When he woke up, he actually thought that he was initially he thought that he was in a hospital. And, there's bright light. He was lying down. So obviously that's the first thing you're going to think of, isn't it? When you know that you've been unconscious. Because he did remember being, hit by this beam of light and, collapsing. But he then realized that there were strange beings around him. Now, I'll just tell you some of the notes that I made here. Was that very little is known as to what happened after Travis was struck. This portion of the story relies on his memory, and the rest of his incredible experience was revealed as a result of regression hypnosis, and that was conducted by a guy called Dr. James A. Harder in the 1970s. Because Travis wanted to know what was going on. He obviously had some some residual memories, but he couldn't place them. Now, when he underwent hypnosis, along with Harder and Walton, there were three physicians and a psychiatrist. And when he was discussing the case, Harder said, beyond any reasonable doubt, the evidence is as valid as any that would be accepted in an American criminal court. Now, this is what Travis said. He blacked out the moment that this beam hit him. He says he felt this like numbing shock and then he blacked out. Now, the next thing he could remember is waking up lying flat in an oddly shaped room. He says he opened his eyes, and this is when obviously he thought initially he was in a hospital room. But then he noticed three humanoid creatures standing over him. He recalls this strange device placed over his chest, which was holding him down on the table. Now, because this freaked him out, he got up and he grabbed something, he doesn't know what it was, some object, to defend himself from these creatures. And he was waving it around, in a bit of a threatening manner at them, fuck off. And the way he described them was being between 4 and 5 foot tall, pale skin, enlarged heads, large brown eyes, and wearing these orange jumpsuits. Now, his description of these is very similar to that of other people who claim to have been abducted. And later on, as he, because he had, I think it was his boss draw what he described as, the description he gave of these. Oh, hi, Lady Witch. Sorry, lovey, I didn't see you come in there. Hello, darling. I'll just get this bit out, and then there's something I wanted to say to you as well. When he got this guy to draw what he'd seen, they realised then, and people who are more expert in the field said he's perfectly described grey aliens. Now, while he's swinging this thing, whatever it was, around like a shillelagh, one of the three creatures left this room, and Travis could actually walk out of the room. So he walked out the room and he started walking around the craft, and he found himself in a room that he said it was a bit like a planetarium. But then two more human-looking beings that had blue jumpsuits on, they approached him and transported him elsewhere. Now, he believes he was transported out of the scout ship he was in and taken onto another craft, because he remembers these things putting a mask-like device over his face that caused him to black out. And other than that, he doesn't remember very much. He said on his interviews, he does remember he shoved one of these aliens, pushed it to get it away because he's in a complete panic. Now, the one thing, and this is one of the things I wanted to tell you about the film. Now, when Travis did the interview, he said that this, the film Fire in the Sky, the 1993 movie that I'm recommending you all watch if you can get hold of it, he said that the aliens in the film weren't exactly like the aliens he'd seen. They were in the film. They're like, they were scary enough anyway, to him in real life, but they were very weird looking. And the reason was that not long prior to this film being released, there'd been another film made with aliens, and they'd used virtually the same alien as he was describing. So the filmmakers didn't want there to be any similarities made between the two films. They got some special effects designer in, and they created these aliens purely to make them look differently. So that's one of the anomalies. Another one of the anomalies in it is where Travis remembered having a mask put on him. In the film, it's different again. They've really embellished it, and it is quite terrifying in the film. But you just have to remember that what they did, it looked like there was like like a film or a skin over him with like a gag in his mouth, and he only had one eye exposed. It's quite horrifying. It's very disturbing. That's in the film. That's not what happened from what he can remember. But, it was quite cool with how they did it. He's not got any complaints about it. So, so that's what he can remember about the abduction. Now, what I was going to say was, Travis also passed a polygraph test. His medical records after the testing indicated there were no drugs in his system. As I said, he returned with some faint memories of being examined by alien creatures. Oh, and accidentally viewing a star system from the craft's cockpit. He believes the beam which struck him in the head and chest killed him upon impact. He believes he was taken on board the alien craft to actually be revived, brought back to life. Now, just one thing to bear in mind, that if he had been hiding or lost, wandering in the forest as initially suspected, he would have likely frozen to death at night, with temperatures reaching, like 8 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 13.3 degrees Celsius. the dogs didn't pick up a trace of him. So how did he carry on living a normal life after such an experience? Janet, he was really messed up for a long time. He still is. If you see him, I mean, I don't know, but you know, there's a certain nose that people have when they do certain things, if you see what I mean. He looks like that to me. He looks like, yeah, you know, the kind of red nose. Say no more. You must watch the movie. Yeah, please do, Frida. I think it's either on. I think it might be on Prime. It might be on Prime. It was on for some time. It was free on YouTube, but I don't know if it's still there or not. So yeah, it's called Fire in the Sky. Yeah, and you as well, Julia. Please watch it. Those of you who haven't seen it. Lady Witch. Just to let you know, the other night, and I know you weren't in my live. Danny After Dark. She just wanted to let you know that she's made a donation to you. You know, because she works with cat rescues. So she said she'd made a wee donation to your kitty cat fund, and she just wanted you to know that anybody who works for, you know, the good of rescuing and helping out feral cats is an absolute effing rock star as far as she's concerned. So that was just your little message, sweetheart. Oh yeah, sorry. Do you want to drop the link again, Lady Witch, and I'll for your kittens. Sorry, for anybody who doesn't know, Lady Witch with her cat rescue and looking after all these feral cats and kittens and trying to get them vaccinated and spayed, neutered, and what have you. So she's got a PayPal, and any or all donations gratefully received. So yeah, if you don't mind dropping that, sweetie pie. Oh yes, the notes line was garbled and I haven't deciphered it. All right. Well, it's Danny After Dark. Jules, I believe you. I'm just interested to know more. Oh, what have I missed? What have I missed? Oh, I saw a UFO in about 1973, 74. Wow. Bloody hell. Oh, you should be telling us these stories, Jules. Jules, I would like the link, please, so I can donate to the cats tomorrow, please. There you go. It's just been put into chat, Jules. Unfortunately, I can't pin it. I don't know why it won't let me do that. It let me star it, but it won't let me pin it. But I'll star it anyway and see if that helps. You saw it through a bedroom window. Well, Jules, I think I saw one, but I don't know. I didn't see little green men. I didn't see flashing lights. It was very similar to a stealth plane, but it absolutely wasn't. But that's all I can say. And to this day, just the way it moved and then the way it vanished. Porky thinks he saw a UFO as a child. So yeah, I think a lot more people think, you know, have seen them. And Julia, I think Julia, and was it your son that was with you? Julia saw one, not well, near the M65, near Blackburn. Yeah, Jules, what was yours like? And Julia as well, if you could say. Oh, and Lady Witch, Jules, I saw one in 1976 down in Texas in the desert. What did yours, so all of you who think you've seen one, or know you've seen one, what did they look like? Mine was triangular. Yeah, Jules, I'll come back in and copy it down and then email it to you. Not a problem, but she has put it there in the chat anyway, if you want. Well, the whatever it was that I saw was triangular. It didn't have flashing lights on it. It didn't make a sound. We were in a car. It was after midnight, going down a country lane, and it was just above the tops of the trees. weird. And we stopped underneath it, and it was kind of hovering a bit, like like a helicopter would, you know, where they just hold and they'll hover. But this wasn't a helicopter. It had no, I couldn't see any jets on it. I couldn't see any wings, propellers, nothing, and it made no sound. And it was just, oh, and it was huge, absolutely gigantic, a triangle black. And then, phew, it just shot away at the same height. It didn't go up in the air. It just shot off. It was the weirdest thing ever. But as I said, I don't know. All I can suspect what it was, but I don't know. Sheila, I've seen lots of videos lately about them hiding within clouds. I keep looking up to see anything, but not seeing anything yet. Wow, Jules, it was round with lights all underneath it. Just stayed still for ages. I screamed for my dad to come and see. He saw it, then it shot straight up and gone. Wow. Oh gosh, and Janet as well. Watched them for an hour. Scared me, Sheila. I believe that sometimes they are the clouds. Frida, I've never seen a UFO, but my son went camping with his friend years ago. Said he and his friend seen things whizzing about in the sky. Gosh, and Green Eyes had an experience in the outback as well. She saw one. Oh, sorry, I'd missed yours, Julia. I've seen strange lights in the sky that shoot crazy moves up and down fast, round bright lights. And is that over, Nick? Because didn't you say you're over in the Manchester direction, Janet? Because I know that there's been an awful lot of stuff happening. There's a bit of a triangle. And oh, which that sounds good in the desert. That's proper Stargate, isn't it? Just Julie, they were flying over me and my son on a deserted motorway. Yeah, wasn't it? Was it Christmas or New Year? Was it Christmas Day or Christmas Eve or something, Julie? I remember you telling us about that. Agree with you there. The way the clouds can change shape. Yeah, Manchester, right near the town centre. Yeah, wish I could say I had seen one, but I haven't. I'm just fascinated. Yeah, Janet, there's a lot of activity in that triangle, from the Pennines, going over. So you've got your Pennines going over in the Yorkshire direction, like up towards the Todmorden area, which is where there's been an potential alien abduction. Oh, and Jules as well is Manchester way, right? Okay. So yeah, there's an awful lot of stuff going on in that triangle, between, Cheshire, Manchester and Lancashire. Yeah, New Year's Eve. I knew you'd said it was one of those times. I thought it was Christmas Eve. Sorry, Julia. Janet, I live in a high rise and I have a telescope, see odd stuff. Wow. Well, quite a few years ago, I went out with this lad from Stockport. Please, nobody berate me for that. And he lived in a place called, well, you guys from Manchester will know it, Lancashire Hill. And there were flats there, and he lived like quite up the top of one of these flats. And he used to tell me that he could see things in the night sky, because it were quite a big flat he had. And he'd sometimes say that if he sat in the dark in his living room, and he sometimes saw, because he was right near the river, sometimes he'd see things like hovering above the clouds, and he said that absolutely weren't planes or helicopters. Because I used to joke saying, he's sure it wasn't the local coppers, following robbed cars or something round Stockport, but no. But yeah, the whole of this area in the northwest is quite, and Sid's from Manchester as well originally. But yeah, there's an awful lot of things go on the Todmorden area, awful lot of things go on over the Bolton area as well. Aliens love the Irish, they love the Guinness. Well, maybe that's where the little green men came from. They weren't frigging leprechauns after all. Lady Witch, ours was on the 4th of July, which is why I was up and outside watching the fireworks. At first we thought it was a plane, but planes don't go up, down, backwards and diagonally. Oh my goodness. Flipping heck. Were you scared, Lady Witch? Or were you just curious? Yeah, no problem, Jules. Even the satellites at the time couldn't do that. I'll tell you what did me for ages. Did any of you do, I mean, I don't know if they still do it now, but when I was at school for music, when I was in, oh God, when I just started at secondary school, so that's like high school for you American lovelies. In the first year of high school, secondary school, in music, we had to listen to War of the Worlds. And our teacher, she was a bit of a hippie type, but she would play. She had a record player, and she used to play this. She had the vinyl, and she'd play the War of the Worlds, and it absolutely terrified me. I think that's why I'm quite scared. I wouldn't want to see an alien, and I definitely wouldn't want to see an aircraft, a spacecraft coming down on a road near me. Oh, is that who it was, Simples? But I have seen shooting stars a few times, and they're not the magical experience that I would want them to be. You know, they say wish upon a shooting star, because I just think about the things coming from Mars. I mean, that album, yeah, there's one that Porky listens to, Lady Witch, and it's called, is it WK? Hang on a minute. WKBW, I think it is. They did. You remember when the Orson Welles did it in the 1930s on the radio, and then they did it again in I think it was the 1950s. So they recorded it again. Same type of thing, and all the way through it, they are letting people know that this is a reenactment of the radio show that was done in 1938, I think it was. But still, people were ringing the radio station, going absolutely crackers. But he listens to that; it helps him go to sleep. It's quite a good recording, and it's on YouTube if anybody's interested in that one. So as long as they didn't want to experiment on me. Oh, what was that too? Let me have a look. I wouldn't be scared. I'd be like, beam me up. Let me escape from here. Which say, I believe that it's humans or what we will look like or become just from another time dimension. Well, yeah, because if you also go, I mean, has anybody watched Prometheus, An Alien Covenant? Oh, night, Denny. Thanks, we'll sort those times. Sweet dreams, delicious ones. Face licks for you. Everybody lick Denny's face while she's leaving. Yeah, send me a text, Bird, and we'll sort it out. Love you lots like jelly tarts. They didn't do that for the original. There were people killing themselves rather be taken by aliens. Crazy, crazy stuff. I know. What's on YouTube? Just walk back in. It's when they did War of the Worlds as a radio program, Jules, not the original 1930s one with Orson Welles. They redid it in the late 50s or the early 60s, and it's called something like WKBW. And Porky loves it. It's one of his favourites, and he likes listening to it going to sleep. Bizarre, I know, but what about radiation off UFOs? I would be hiding behind the nearest tree. Well, I've still got some more info to talk about of Travis's, so which you all might find very interesting while we're talking about radiation. Now, I'm going to go back to there's a little bit of press coverage. Oh, was the Julia meteorite over the UK? Oh, hang on, was it part of the oh gosh, hang on a minute. There was the meteor shower, wasn't there? That's the back end of Halley's Comet. Oh God, I can't think what they're called. Is it the Dianids or something like that? Oh, flip. You throw me there now. But yeah, I wouldn't have been surprised because sometimes you'll get the fireballs with them as well. But yeah, I know that meteor shower, I think it's still going on actually. I think it goes on until about the 25th, but we've passed the peak of it. But yeah, it's actually caused by the tail of Halley's Comet. Right, I shall just go onto some of this press coverage. So, in November 1975, there were several media outlets reporting on Travis's encounter, but oh, is that the one that they've been tracking that's going to hit us? No, Lady Witch. It's oh, I'm not sure. Oh, you're talking about the one to Julia. It lit all the sky, but not sure of anything. All right, okie dokie. I think that's not due. The one that's going to hit us isn't due for quite. Oh, that's going to be a close call. Isn't due for quite a while, is it? I always worry in case the moon gets hit by one and it blows the moon up. Where would we be then? Because it could, couldn't it? Or potentially knock the moon off its axis. So, yeah, so there was a lot of inaccurate or incomplete information. It was a bit sensationalized when they started covering him. And several local media outlets and newspapers covered Travis's story, including there's Arizona's own White Mountain Independent. Now, the paper covered Walton's case on November the 14th. So this is 4 days after he's reappeared. And it had the front page headline, which said "Kidnapped into Spacecraft?" ? So, you know, it was all... It was a bit piss-taking, you know. It wasn't really taking it seriously. But as a result of this story quickly gained a local buzz in the town. Some people believed him. A lot of people didn't. Now, he was understandably he was quite distraught, probably still in shock, probably suffering from PTSD. And he just wanted to avoid the media at all costs. But it didn't stop the story from leaking. His initial reluctance to meet with the media, because, you know, they wanted a story. It didn't matter what he'd been through or what potentially he'd been through. The fact that he was reluctant to meet with them, that just gave added fuel to the fire for the skeptics and encouraged all these rumours. You know, he's attention seeking, he's done this for fame, done it for money, done it to get out of this, that, or the other, you know. But very soon after this, there was media outlets from all over the world flooding into Snowflake, Arizona, which is only, you know, it's only a little town, or it was at the time. You know, the big international news networks had picked up on this, you know, and it's quite a tantalizing story, you know, for the lack of anything else to report on. So he tried his best to kind of minimize his contact with the press. And in order to do this, he actually agreed to do an exclusive with the National Enquirer. Now, they were the Enquirer were the ones that funded God, I can't even speak tonight. They funded efforts to either prove or disprove what Travis was claiming. And according to the original article, Travis underwent a polygraph examination. The Enquirer printed the headline, "Arizona man taken by a flying saucer," and that was in large, bold type in a December 1975 issue. And at the time, the National Enquirer considered itself the largest circulation of any paper in America. So this was quite a significant paper to be featured in. Now, The case was also covered in MUFON. Now, that's a UFO group, but they had it was called Skylook, the publication. It's defunct now, it doesn't go on anymore, but that at the time, Skylook was their publication, and they covered it in April of 1976. Now, in the monthly journal, Walton had the chance to explain his side of the story, and probably for the first time. And he said, when I was returned on November the 10th, I was in a serious emotional state. At that time and for weeks afterwards, I didn't want to tell anybody about my experience except those close to me. I avoided the public and the media for several days. During my silence, a lot of misinformation was printed. Yeah, before they were considered a tabloid, absolutely, Lady Witch. Now, just a couple of months after this incident, so this was in January 1976, Travis was flown to California, to Los Angeles to be precise, and he was being interviewed by none other than Star Trek's Leonard Nimoy for a pilot TV show. And he was accompanied by some researchers. So there was Jim and Coral Lorenzon. They were from the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization. Now, the episode with Travis never aired on television because the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization's bulletin reported that the show was titled The Unexplained, while others say it was titled In Search Of. Now, Nimoy even discussed his belief in UFOs and Travis Walton's story with the National Enquirer. When asked, they asked him about his belief in UFOs, Leonard Nimoy actually said, I believe in UFOs because so many qualified observers and solid people have reported sightings that just can't be dismissed. I have talked with Travis Walton, a young Arizona man who claimed he was actually taken aboard a UFO. It was a bizarre story, but I felt he was being truthful. So, in 1976, Travis and his crew were awarded $5,000 by the National Enquirer, despite skeptics claiming that the whole case was hoaxed as a money scheme. There's been no evidence, no clear evidence to suggest that it was a hoax. And when the film Fire in the Sky opened on the 12th of March 1993, Travis Walton and Mike Rogers, he was his friend who was the crew boss, the logging crew boss, they appeared on Larry King Live, and this was their very first major interview. The segment on Larry King actually featured ufology's biggest skeptic, a guy called Philip Klass. So, obviously it was just trying to get him in the firing line, which is really, it's a shame. Now, approximately 45 years after this had happened, this abduction, Travis appeared on an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. Don't know if any of you watched Joe Rogan. If you're interested, it's episode 1597, and you can see Travis there. Now, this was a 2-hour interview, and he expressed the similarities to the craft he saw to that was described by Bob Lazar. And as mentioned by Travis, Tester's 1994 Area S4 UFO model does bear a resemblance to the craft witnessed by himself and his crew. Now, the abduction site was initially inadequately investigated by Bill Spaulding of Ground Source Watch in 1976. Travis said he'd never met or spoken with Spaulding, nor had Spaulding spoken with any witnesses. The incident was investigated more seriously by, the organisation I just mentioned, the Aerial Phenomena Research Organisation. We'll call them APRO. Now, according to Travis, APRO carried the real investigation as they conducted several medical, psychiatric, hypnotic, and polygraph examinations. And in the summer of 2014, Ben Hansen closely investigated the site again and found signs of significant tree growth in the area. Now, within months, and I think he probably did this as a form of therapy for himself, Travis started writing about his experience. There was a newspaper feature in February of 1976 that reported that Travis had already started writing about his ordeal, possibly as a way to cope with what had happened to him. And I think that's true. This report also noted that he'd been working closely with an artist to illustrate the encounter. Now, that was his friend Mike Rogers, you know, his former boss. Travis's book was published and it was entitled The Walton Experience. Now, in this, he details his encounter and he gives an insight into the experience of being taken aboard a UFO. According to Mike, his boss and friend, the book sold 50,000 copies in less than a month. So it actually did slightly better than shitloads. Just thought I'll get that in there. Now, there has been, you know, there is a significant aftermath to all of this, these goings on with Travis, because for decades he's been regarded as the most famous alien abductee in the world, but hand in hand with that is also the most famous alien abductee. Everybody heard of Betty Barney Hill? Now, they were apparently abducted in 1961 by extraterrestrial beings, and they even had a name for it. These extraterrestrials came from the Zeta Reticuli star system, but their story and their case has never been backed by several first-hand witnesses the way that Travis's had. So if any of you haven't heard of that one, it's worth having a look into. Betty and Barney, they were a mixed racial couple. I think Betty was white, Barney was black, you know, and quite forward looking couple considering, you know, the era that they were in. But yeah, there was something that was written about that. When ufologists discuss the most credible abduction cases, 3 stand out: Betty and Barney Hill case, the Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker Pascagoula case, and the Travis Walton case. I don't know about the Charles. Oh, you keep losing sound, Janet. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, and Julia as well. Oh, bum. I don't know what's happening. Do you know, though, this happened on one of my lives the other night, because there was I can't remember which one it was, and I wanted to play it back. And funnily enough, we were talking about the weird and wonderful, and it kept cutting out. I always wonder whether it's something that's interfering. Oh, are the storms? Well, I wouldn't be surprised, Sheila, because it's been very muggy here today. Oh, I am sorry. Is there any bits that you want me to repeat? Well, obviously, if you heard what I was about to say and then it cut out, I'm happy to repeat it. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's very weird, isn't it? I think sometimes I do get some interference depending on what I'm talking about. Oh, okay. So that was, I'll get back to that a little bit then. Betty and Barney Hill, Janet. They were a mixed race couple, and they had an experience of abduction in 1961, which is apparently one of the most credible, alongside Travis Walton's, but they had no other witnesses who could corroborate what had happened. But they're worth looking into, Betty and Barney. So, it's a bit annoying if the flipping sound keeps going. Betty and Barney Hill. I think her dress was buttoned up wrong and she had a pink stain from some weird substance on it. Oh, all right, Jules, love. Yeah, again, it's the misdressed, aren't they? You know, her frock's buttoned up wrong. Travis's clothes were all on back to front. Zeman Adamski, his clothing was in disarray. It was as though someone had dressed him who didn't understand how clothing was put on. I've noticed when you talk about paranormal and odd stuff, the sound glitches. Janet, you know what? That's been mentioned before. I think, was it Lady Witch who noticed that for the first time and drew attention to it? But yeah, it's very weird. And usually, if I'm talking about dog men, my dog starts getting a little bit gobby. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the movie now. Case was checking on YouTube, lots of videos about Travis, also a live interview with him. The one of the best interviews, Frida, is, well, there's the Joe Rogan one, but also I tell you what, he's on hang on. It's on Sky. If you've got Sky, Sean Ryder, do you remember him out of the Happy Mondays? Ugliest man in the world. Sean Ryder does a program about UFOs and aliens. Travis Walton came over from the States and joined Sean Ryder for that, and he talks a little bit about his own experience, so that's worth having a watch as well. But yeah, the Joe Rogan one, or if you can find the Art Bell one. Now, I'll just tell you a little bit. So, as I've said, this story of Travis's, it's one of the most famous and best documented alien abduction cases of all time. This Fire in the Sky film is now, they consider it to be a cult classic, and it was released solely based on his story. It was released in 1993, and Den of Geek have described it as, and I quote, its depiction of what an alien craft might look like based on abductees' accounts is one of the most memorable in 90s sci-fi cinema. Nonetheless, so that's what they've said. Now, the producers have admitted to taking creative liberties with his story in an effort to make it more compelling. They're the things that I mentioned before about when he had a mask put over him. That isn't what happened. So yeah, just a few little odds and sods, and the way that the aliens looked, they aren't how they looked to Travis. He's described grey aliens, but they had to make them look different to the film that had just been released just before that one. So this film did have a positive effect on on how people looked at alien abductions, because it brought a greater acceptance of the abduction phenomena. However, it did also cause a lot of people to be very frightened, that they would be taken by people from another planet. Like myself, I don't think I would like it very much. Now, Travis does have his own website, and it's, if anyone's interested, it's Travis Heighton. So it's Travis. Actually, hang on, I'll put it in the chat. I always forget that I can type in my old flipping chat. I'm such a nerd. There we go. Quick hello at the cat shelter doing my weekly Wednesday night shift. Me and the cats will be listening and I work. Have a great night, everyone. Hello, Danny. Thank you for popping in, sweetheart. I've just been covering Travis Walton. So we're doing Skinwalker Ranch on Friday, but we're just talking about Travis Walton's alien abduction. There you go. Danny, bless you, helping the wee kitties. I know she's another superstar. Danny and Lady Witch, and I let Lady Witch know that she hadn't been able to read your message with your donation. She said it was all garbled. So yeah, I just passed your message on from the other night, and thank you so much. You've just missed Denny as well. But we're going to be doing a little live with Denny coming up on panel. And obviously, if you're around and free, you're very welcome. And I hope that you had a lovely vacation with your family as well. I think that was the last time we spoke, wasn't it? Okay, so on Travis's website, he actually says, if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't get out of the truck. He's often expressed a real fearful recollection of the entire experience. He hasn't changed his story one iota since 1975. His choice of words will maybe alter slightly. I mean, it's over 4 decades of chatting and discussing and being interviewed. So you are going to change your wording slightly, but the actual bare bones of his, when he recounts what happened to him, it hasn't changed at all. He's admired and well respected by veteran researchers in the field of ufology. It is a remarkable story. Do you think the aliens telepathically made him get out of the truck? They might have done, Janet. I never thought about that. That is a really good point. I never thought about that. What do the rest of you think? Because it's weird, isn't it, that something so terrifying, that these are all grown, hairy-ass loggers, not a lot scares them, that they were all in the truck terrified, and yet he gets out and goes, it's never made sense to me, because I often thought, was he a bit pissed? Maybe he'd had a few drinks, what have you. But obviously they tested him. He didn't, and even Mike had said, no, absolutely not. There's no drinking allowed. He has said he has been regressed. Just Lady Witch says, hi, Danny, we got your donation. Thank you very much. That's just because we know that Danny's just listening in rather than typing. Yes, Sid, because he had a bit of a shady recollection of what had happened, so he kind of remembered bits but not a lot. He did agree to have to be regressed, and that's when the rest of these memories started to come out, the more details about the different type of aliens. Yes, he did. Said he was, he remembered having the fight with the fight when he picked something up and was swinging it round. aliens that did look more human, which is what was it Sheila that mentioned that before, saying, thinking that aliens are probably just us, either what we are, the same as us, or what they've they've evolved into, which is when I said, has anybody seen Prometheus or Alien Covenant? Because that shows about how their version of how we were created, and these were aliens that looked very similar to us, gigantic but very similar. And then you go into the writings of Eric von Daniken, with his Chariot of the Gods, which I know a few of you in here have read, and his his thoughts on how humans were created, and it was DNA manipulation by aliens. He thinks that the aliens were coming down and procreating with ancient humans, which is what he said were being described as the fallen angels. They actually weren't. They were, that they were aliens, but Julia, they might have been doing some other research and he got hurt by accident, so they took him to fix him. Well, that's what he said, Julia, wasn't it? He thinks that that beam that hit him killed him, and that they then took him back into the craft to try and bring him back to life again, to revive him, maybe start his heart again, what have you. Janet, yeah, good thinking, very possibly may have been that. Yeah, and that's what he thinks himself. Said, I trust regression. My mate had a car crash and didn't know what happened, but described it perfectly under hypnosis. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I'd love to actually have regression. Not for anything, I've not had an alien abduction, but to see if I've lived before, a past life regression. I'd love that. Hi, welcome back, Jules. Oh, a nice cup of coffee. Oh, cups of coffee, I miss you so much. All right. Now, I think that, obviously he's been very traumatized by what's happened to him, as you can imagine. And he's been traumatized by people disbelieving him, really. I mean, there was even something came out, where people, he did pass a polygraph test, but then they're saying that he didn't pass it, other publications. And it's a case of, you throw enough mud and some will stick. And it is a shame for him, but he appears to have found, and good for him, he's found some comfort in talking with, other potential abductees. He was friends with Betty Hill, who were mentioned earlier, Betty and Barney Hill, who claimed that they were taken by aliens and experimented on back in 1961. Now, there are some, I believe alien DNA was introduced to humans and still think they talk telepathy to give info to help us develop more. Well, I've had this thought for a while, though, Julia, about, we were talking about star children. You may or may not have been in for that one. And I have always had this particular thought about rhesus negative blood groups. Us being, being slightly different. But that's something for another time. But yeah, I kind of, yeah. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what the rhesus negative started off as, but I definitely think it's something along those, of that ilk. Sheila says, oh no, I don't fancy regression. I remember when I was coming round for my operation and all the nurses staff were pissing themselves at me. They would not tell me what I was saying or anything. Oh, well, that's a bit unfair of them, isn't it? Frida says, Julia, I believe that aliens had something to do with the pyramids. Just my opinion. Yeah, well, I do, Frida. I do. I think the pyramids. I think a lot of places like Stonehenge. I think these, the temples in South America. Is it Machu Picchu? Is it Tiwanaku? I can never say it. Lady Witch can probably correct me on that. Sid agree. Yeah, everybody's agreeing. Janet agrees. Oh, is your blood type as well, Jules? Yeah, I'm A negative. I think, isn't the rarest type, is it O negative? I always forget that. I'm sure it's O negative, the rarest type, but yeah, I'm A negative. Yeah, the Nazca lines, Sheila. Thank you for reminding me of that as well. The Nazca lines, definitely alien related. Look at all the ancient paintings on, the cave drawings across all the different continents. On every continent, ancient people have, they've depicted creatures that look remarkably like spacemen, men in spacesuits, people flying spacecraft. Janet, thank you. Yeah, crop circles as well. Now, yeah, I do agree. A couple of the crop circles were debunked. They did find that they'd been, they were hoaxes, but the majority of them not, and they're far too complex. The designs of them. And then look at the cattle mutilations. And we are going to talk about this on Friday with, Skinwalker, because things are going on there. But very briefly, for those of you that don't know, Julie, I'm going to the Crop Circle Museum in June. I didn't know there was a Crop Circle Museum. Did anyone watch the video of the man who kept saying he was going to live with aliens and he disappeared, never seen again, in the US? No, Jules. Is that on YouTube? Yeah, I didn't Crop Circle Museum. I'm presuming, has this got all photographs of them in, Julia? And where is it, by the way? Quite interested in that. But yeah, as I was saying with the cattle mutilations, the cattle will be found dead. And this can be within minutes of you having walked past a cow. This was one of the cases on Skinwalker. The guy who, rents the fields there, he had gone out to check on the cattle. There was a newborn calf. He got in the field. Now, this is in the middle of nowhere. There aren't nobody can creep up on you there. Okay? There's nobody. You can see for miles. The ground is flat. He walked past the calf. It was like a day or two old. He walked past it. He walked down the edge of the field just to check on a couple of other cows that were at the bottom. He turned around to come back. It was a matter of minutes. And the calf was dead. Okay. Oh, I'll just go back here. Yeah, can't remember. Oh, I'll have a look for it, Jules. Don't worry, I'll have a look. Oh, Pewsey in Wiltshire, Julia. Thank you. Oh, there you go. For anybody who's interested in crop circles, there is a crop circle museum that Julia is going to. Pewsey in Wiltshire. So I'll go back to this. Oh, what's that Frida said? Look at the structure of the pyramids. Also, Giza pyramids totally in line with Orion's belt. Yeah, I know, Frida. It's just fascinating. How did ancient man know this? How did ancient man know these things? They didn't have half these. I mean, there are depictions of some stars and constellations that are not visible to the naked eye. You would have needed an advanced telescope system, and yet ancient man are managing to do these, to depict them. So yeah, back to this cow. So the guy has only been gone a matter of minutes. We're talking less than 10, right? He turns round, he walks back because he's going to go back out of the gate to his truck. So nobody's been there. There isn't anybody in sight. There's nowhere for anyone to hide. The calf is dead. It's lying on the floor near the gate where it was when he entered, not 10 minutes earlier. And its tongue was removed. I know these are removed by what look like lasers. It's not something that a knife would have been able to do because there's no blood. There's no blood loss at all. It's like these have been cauterized by laser. So, you know, this car, its genitals had been removed, its bumhole had been removed, tongue gone. A lot of the times, if they're the cows, again, the udders will be removed, their genitalia will be removed, eyes will be cut out, there'll be tongues missing, the weirdest thing ever. But this will happen in the... Now, how did that happen? How did anybody do that in the 10 minutes? It would have taken longer than that to have done it. And you'd have had to get there and get away. I don't know, Jules, but that's very similar to, you know, with the Bigfoot. And do you remember with Dyatlov, the Dyatlov Pass incident that we talked about? You know, and Ludmila, her tongue was missing. You know, there were deer found with tongues missing. It's bizarre, isn't it? Oh, Frida saying, sorry, Sid, just to change the subject, did you hear about the new series about the Sex Pistols called Pistol? It's on Disney Plus starting 31st of May. Yes, mate, but the punk community are very dubious about it. Oh, right. I don't have the Disney Plus, Frida, so I'll have to miss that one. But you'll have to let me know how goes it, both of you, if you watch it. Still not very... Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'm not doing so bad, though. I'm coming on to, you know, I'm nearly at the end of 5 months. And I'm actually now on zero nicotine. The figuring out how stuff works and what we're made of. Yes, Julia, excuse me, either that or, you know, they're just observing what their creations or their experiments, how they are evolving, maybe. Sex Pistols on Disney, what could possibly go wrong? You're not wrong there. I know I keep seeing stuff that's being advertised to be shown on Disney, and I'm like, okay. Thanks, Jules. Thank you. Oh, wow, you should be able to quit soon. And oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to. Yeah, I'm still using my vape as a crutch, though, Sid. Even though I'm on zero nicotine, I'm still enjoying having the old puffski. I have got 2 now, though, Frida. I followed your advice, chicken. I got sick of losing one, so I got another. Now, a little bit more about Travis. So, we've got some testimony from Mike, his boss. Lady Witch, I'm surprised what is on Disney Plus now. I know there's a lot of very near the knuckle stuff. Bit small for a crutch. I know you're only 5 foot now, but hey, you taking tips off that bloody porky? Dear me. Right, so here is Mike Rogers' testimony. So, as I said, he was driving the truck, and closest, riding in the front with him and closest to the window was Travis. Okay, this is what he put. It was many years ago that I got out of a crew truck in the National Forest and ran towards... Sorry, this is what Travis said. Sorry. Many years ago that I got out of a crew truck in the National Forest and ran towards a large glowing object hovering in the darkening Arizona sky. But when I made that fateful choice to leave the truck, I was leaving behind more than just my 6 fellow workmates. Okay, Bemma's just gone live. I'm heading over there, kissing everyone. Good night. No problem, Sheila. Thanks for coming in, sweetheart. Lovely to see you. And we'll be doing another one on Saturday. Saturday. On Friday, we're doing Skinwalker Ranch. So if you're around, I was leaving behind forever all semblance of a normal life, running headlong into an experience so overwhelmingly mind-rending in its effects, so devastating in its aftermath, that my life could never be the same again. Now, another one of the guys, John Gillette, I know what I saw. It wasn't anything from this earth. Lady Witch, yeah, I have to go. Y'all have a great live. Much love, everyone. No problem. Like he touched a live wire. Dwayne Smith, he said the UFO was smooth and was giving off a yellowish orange light. Mike Rogers, he said, I've been working these woods for over 30 years and this is still the damnedest thing that ever happened to me. And Steve Pierce, he said, the ray was the brightest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And last but not least was Alan Dallas. He said, we couldn't believe what was happening. The horror was unreal. So, you know, a lot of people are behind Travis, you know. Jeremy Corbell, he said he's kept it real for 45 years and he's kept a good attitude. That's admirable. And that's what I agree with. So I don't know what you all think of Travis, and you know, is there anything that you want to discuss on that one? Anything that you know, has raised any questions with you? I mean, I was a bit the same as Janet. I always wondered what the hell. Hi, Paula. Hello, darling. How are you doing? I always wondered why he got out of the truck. Seems like Travis tried not to sensationalize it. He did, Sid, and obviously, I think even if he wanted to, he couldn't have, because he just didn't remember everything. You know, all he could talk about was the after effects. Do you know what, Janet? I don't know. I would expect he has, but I don't know. Frida, the fact that so much attention was given to him says a lot. I know, and I think it's, as they'd said, it's the fact that he's got witnesses. So there wasn't just him. There were 6 other guys. They've never changed the story either. All of them volunteered to have a polygraph taken, apart from Alan Dallas, and he was, well, he volunteered, but he got up. He was pissed off halfway through. Got up, dragged the things off himself, and walked out because of the way he was being treated. So you know, Travis passed. When he got back, I mean, he was in complete and utter shock, because he genuinely thought, because of the time of day that he came to at the side of the road, he genuinely thought it was maybe 4, maybe 5 hours later than when he'd vanished. I think it does as well, Sid. He does admit that he can't remember it, and you know, and he doesn't try to say what I think was. You know, if you ask him a question and he doesn't know, he'll tell you, I don't know. Yes, it absolutely, Sid. He would have made something more of it up. So I do believe him. When you see him, if any of you, you know, do get round to watching any of his interviews, or if you have watched them, you can see it in his eyes. He looks to me, I mean, I don't know. I didn't want to cast aspersions on the guy. I wouldn't blame him if he was. He looks to me a bit glassy-eyed and a bit red of nose, if you catch my drift. I don't blame him at all. I absolutely don't blame him if that's the case, because he does. He looks like a very troubled soul. And I'm not being funny, but I would be, if I was him, having been there in a craft, I would possibly always be shitting myself in case they decided to pay me another visit. You know, it's I mean, knowing what he does, what's the full net? What of the film, Jules? Most likely doesn't feel safe anywhere. I wouldn't. I absolutely wouldn't, because I mean, now he knows that, you know, he knows of things like tracking devices, things that you didn't know about, you know, chips and stuff like that wasn't a thing in, you know, back in the 1970s. But now I would probably be, his full name, Jules, it's Travis Walton, as in, you know, Walton. Now I'd be thinking, oh my God, can they track me? Do they know? Yes, and as far as I'm aware, Janet, nothing was. Well, actually, I heard a story, but it's not been corroborated, that something was picked up by an X-ray, but then the next X-ray he had, it wasn't there anymore. I don't know how credible that is. It wasn't a story that came from Travis. It came from somebody else. No problem, Jules. And it's really, really interesting. He used to live in a little house on the prairie. Yeah. With a sister called Laura. Oh, no, it wasn't. Oh, hang on a minute. No, the Waltons were the big family, weren't they? It was Laura Ingalls who lived in the little house on the prairie. Or am I just going off on a completely different tangent? Jill's search Fire in the Sky on YouTube. There's loads come up. And Brother John Boy. Yeah, they didn't live in the prairie. So, yeah, that's the Waltons one. At night, Jim Bob. Night, John Boy. Good night, Grandma. We used to do that in my house. It used to piss my dad off, you know, when we were kids. Everybody shouting from around the house. So yeah, there's a lot, and then obviously look up as well, Betty and Barney Hill, Jules, and anybody else who's interested. Oh, brilliant, Paula. Well, we started about 10 past 9:15, and I've just gone through the whole Travis Walton story. So hopefully you'll find that interesting. So yeah, I think we all did. Yes, we did, Sid. Everybody wanted to piss the family off. It is, Frida. It is like the Waltons in here sometimes, especially when somebody's going. Because you'll want to make sure you say tra, but then it's a nightmare, isn't it? If you're trying to duck out of a chat. And I've done it myself in other chats, and I've said tra to someone, and then and I'm literally going at that particular moment. I'll go, right, everybody, gotta go. See you all soon. Toodaloo. And then there's about 20 people go, see you, kiss, bye, kiss, take care, kiss. What you up to, kiss? And you're like, shit, I've got to reply to them all. Because I don't like being rude. So now what I've done, when I do depart a chat, I literally do just leave the chat, because I'm too anal to leave people saying goodbye to me without having replied to them personally, and then I would just be there for another hour. So what's the consensus of opinion? Do you believe Travis? Do you think there's more to his story? What I was going to say before, you remember right at the beginning, and I mentioned that he was going to, I'd heard that he was going to do another film. Do you guys remember when I covered Alan Godfrey, the police officer? I always feel bad when I come in and miss saying hi to someone who welcomes me. Oh, well, I do as well, Sid, but that's why I tend to do a blanket one now. You know, if I go into different chats, especially big chats, you know, like you go into BAMs or genetic codes or Nuff Nuffs, and there's loads of people in. I'll just go, hiya, everybody. Just seen an article about it being debunked, but we'll look at it later. Let's have a little look here. Yeah, so I do believe him. I do believe him. Yes, Janet, me too. And with Alan Godfrey, when I did that, Holy Makers, I'm dying to see that now. So bye and thank you all. Bye all. No problem, Jules. No night, sweetheart. And don't forget, we're doing Skinwalker Ranch on Friday if you can make it, which will be great if you can, because that stuff's so interesting. Yeah, no problem, Jules. Enjoy. I hope you don't get the nightmares of the frickies. Yeah, and if any of you remember in the comments after I'd covered the Alan Godfrey story, one of his relations came in and they'd actually said, you know, the guy had said, thank you for, you know, thanks for covering it. And that Alan had been asked to do a film. I think, was it Julia? Did you say your husband knew Alan Godfrey? The copper from Todmorden? And anyway, this relation, I think he was a cousin or something of Alan Godfrey, he thanked us for covering the way we did it, the story, and said that Alan was in the process of doing a film, and from what I can gather, it's with Travis Walton. So that'll be really interesting. So I did ask his relation. I said, please keep us posted. You know, if he does get to do this film, let us know. And he said he would do. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. I enjoyed covering that one, the Alan Godfrey one, though. That was just freaky as out. No, I know, Janet, I can't either, and I wouldn't have known about it. Now that's the other thing as well. That Sean Ryder thing with now, I'm wondering if this is where it started off at, because the Sean Ryder thing that's on Sky, he goes and he speaks to Alan Godfrey about his, you know, that lost time incident he had with the UFO in Todmorden way back when. I think that was in the 80s, wasn't it? So yeah, I mean, I can't find anything that would make me at this particular, only because we find it a bit, you know, we treat things a bit, you know, with incredulity, don't we? You talk about UFOs and what have you. Because did that happen to Travis about 40 years ago? It happened in 1975, Frida. So what's that, 47 years ago? He might have done, Janet, but pulled a few strings. Believe both him and Alan Godfrey. Yeah. No, it wouldn't make it up. Why would you put yourself, you know, open yourself up to ridicule? You just wouldn't, well, you know, most people wouldn't do it. Oh, Julie said that, yeah, he works with him. Yeah, I mean, he was a respected police officer. You know, Alan Godfrey was a respected police officer. He had a career there, and he ended up having to, you know, give it up. The ridicule that he faced from his colleagues, and he was just telling people the truth. You know, and it's the same with Travis. You know, and all his colleagues. You know, all the other guys who were on that logging crew, they told the truth. They lost the contract. It's just. Oh. Oh, bless me. Oh, sorry about that, guys. That sneeze came from absolutely nowhere. So I hope you've enjoyed that one, the story of Travis Walton, because I've always found that fascinating. all still keep in touch? No, Janet, they don't. Really, it had initially just been Travis and Mike. Now, the last interview I heard with Travis, he was asked by the interviewer and they said, you know, do you and Mike still, you know, you're still in touch, you're still friends? And, you know, he just said, well, no, I've not seen him for a long time. So, and I'm expecting it's nothing to do with this. It's probably just a case of, you know, people drifting apart as they do. Sid, ERL, so what drugs was was you on and have you got any left? Yeah. Well, do you know what he did though as well? Sean Ryder, he took him into Travis, this was not Alan. He took Travis with him to this little place to have a chippy tea, and you can Sean Ryder's just walloping it, and you can see Travis looking down, fish chips and mushy peas, piece of bread and a mug of tea, and he's looking, thinking, "What the fuck am I about to eat here?" Not now. I've only seen him on documentary now. All right, Julia. Janet really enjoyed it, and you tell the story. Oh, thank you, Janet. That's really kind of you. Thank you. Frida says, we're very interested. We'll look into it more, and I'm going to watch the movie as well. Yeah, and as I said, just bear in mind those little bits and pieces that he said aren't true, because if you were to take that at face value, you would probably be less likely to believe his story. So they're just little things to bear in mind. But definitely, if you can look up the Art Bell. In fact, bear with me a second. Pissing yourself at the thought of that, I know. he's just a mess, isn't he? I'm going to just stick a link in for you guys. Bear with me 1 second, because I'll try and get this Art Bell interview, because it's well worth you having a listen to it. I should play some music, shouldn't I? Do 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 do. With more than him involved in the case, dead bodies and moving cows don't turn up by themselves. Well, that was it, Julia, wasn't it? You know, with the cattle that were in that little was it a cricket ground they were in? And no, there was like wet ground, wasn't there? And no footprints to where the cows were from the place, like a quarter of a mile away, where they'd been able to, where they would have got in. Yeah. That dog doesn't hunt, does it? Right, let me just find. Oh, here it is. Okie dokie. Give me one tick, and I'm going to Art Bell, Travis Walton, Alien Abductions. Right, let me copy the link. Oops. God, I'm like a Martian. I have to talk you through everything though, don't I? I'm such a dweeb. Right, here is the link for Art Bell. So that's a podcast, and you can just have a listen to it on YouTube. I love Art Bell. Oh, thank you, Sid. I really enjoyed this live kiss as always. Thank you so much. Oh, well, I hope you can make Friday, because that'll be quite interesting, and we'll do incognito as well. Janet, me too, said everyone is really nice in here, as we say in Manchester. Sorted. Was that a really crap Manchester accent? But thank you, Janet. That's really kind. Everybody who comes in here, we've never had any bother, have we, Sid? Everybody who comes in, everybody gets on, and what I like is when, you know, somebody new comes in, you know, yourself, and we've had all sorts of new people, haven't we? Nobody's treated like the new. They come in, everybody fits in. We get to know about people, and you know, anytime, Janet, might not be for you, but you know, anytime when I've dropped the link in, if you want to come up, on panel, you're very welcome. You know, anybody's welcome. Sid, you missed it. We're getting Uncle P is going to come back up again. I'm going to sort it out with Denny, but she's going to come up again and do a few accents and have a bit of a giggle. We're just going to have a shizzle night with no particular topic, but Uncle P is going to come up. Oh, how do you do the incognito name thing? You just go into your profile, Janet, and just change your screen name just for the night. And usually these lot come up with something quite funny. Sometimes it's connected to whatever topic we're talking about. Sometimes it's completely random and I haven't got a clue. And then the rules of the game are that if we guess you right, me or anybody else in chat guesses you right, you then have to go and change your name back to your proper name. So, you know, so if you were like Joe Blogs and we went, yeah, I think Joe Blogs is Janet, you'd then have to change yourself back to Janet. Woohoo, Uncle P, but no C. No, I've told her, I said, you do not say the C word again. Because I said, you got me Christmas, New Year's Eve tucked down, and that was a cracking live. That it was so funny. There were loads of people in chat. We had, you know, because who was up on panel? It was me, Denny, Uncle P, Bedtime Clown, Jen. Do you remember Nuff Nuff trying to get up and she was pissed and she didn't have a signal? Oh, there you go. Julie saying, Janet, go to your little pic on the home screen and tap on it and edit. Oh, you lot are so sweet. I'm going to be getting a big head. You'll have to say something not nice to me now, and then I'll come back down to earth. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you think the Friday would be classed as? Do you think it'd be classed as paranormal or just freaky deaky? Then again, though, I mean, we were talking about oh God, whatever we were talking about the other night, and I came in as Amber's bed tolly. So I think Amber Heard or Amber Turd seems to be one of the funny topics at the moment. So and what was Simples was it Mike Myers muff munching mask? I still think that the funniest one oh gee, I had to keep trying to learn. I know you did really well though, Julia, because I think you'd only been in one live, hadn't you? And then you joined in the following week on Incognito, and you did bloody well. You kept us all. You were right near the end before we guessed it was you. Yeah, the funniest one was the alien night. Do you remember? And Cassius, but he came in and he put alien. I'm going to start laughing again because I put the title up, didn't I? Saying Cassius was probed by an alien. That's one. If you want to giggle, Janet, go back and have a watch of that one. And his he came in, but it was alien's probe was stinking, and every time I saw it, I just kept laughing. But that night, and Sid, yours was what was it, extraterrestrial, and you just kept coming in telling everyone to fuck off. That was a really, really funny night. It was brilliant. Because I think there's been the two nights, haven't there? That one was just hilarious. And then the other one was the night where we just started talking and it just went into pure filth. And I was, do you remember I was screaming, laughing, and I couldn't breathe. I thought I was going to die. Oh, it was a good laugh, that extraterrestrial. That was inspired, that were. But yeah, Uncle P wants to come on, just chat shizzle. She didn't want to come in for a topic because I said to her, she rang me last night and I said, why don't you come in for this one? She went, no, she said, because she knows what I'm like. She said, no, because you'll be trying to tell a story and I'll be pissed and making you laugh and interfering. She said, and you'll get really pissed off with me. So she said, I'd rather just come in on a non-topic night where we can just chat shizzle. So Denny was in earlier. So I asked, because she wants Denny up as well. I asked Denny to let me know when what nights are best for her. And then we'll get one sorted. So might even be Sunday if we can get that sorted. But I think Denny had said Sundays or midweek. What was it Porky said about No. And cheese toasties. The thing is, it was you that started that off, albeit unintentional, talking about bloody Norway, which then got me talking about going in the flipping saunas, wasn't it? And then it just deteriorated from there. And yeah, that was a very, very funny night. I'll have to, yeah, I was going to say, Janet, I'll have to give you some timestamps of these, and you will just, the laughing. There was one point, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I was screaming. This lot were all in hysterics. I think Lady Witch was saying, "Stop making Kiss laugh," because she's literally going to have a coronary. Yeah, I don't think I've ever laughed as much as that night with the liver and the cheese toasties. Oh my goodness, was it, Julia? I'm surprised you came back. I'm surprised you came back. That was total filth that night, but it was very, very funny. I thought I was going to pass out. I thought I was going to pass out. That's before I moved in with Porky, wasn't it? Janet, I like listening while I'm walking, but I get some funny looks. Well, I'll tell you what. Look, in fact, I'll tell you which they are. Bear with me. So the one of them is the Alien Night. I'm going to get you the links. I'll put them in the chat because I mean a lot of them are very funny anyway, but these ones were the best. They were the absolute tops. Let me find. Sorry, it's me trying to. God, I've done more videos than I thought I had. Bloody hell. That's crikey. Oh, here we go. So this is the first one. And this one, it's not so much, oh gosh, it's not so much listening to it, Janet, but it's, if you can watch the live chat replay, it's just bloody hilarious. So this is that's the Alien one. And then I'll find the one the really disgusting one. I think I'm sure I time stamped it, didn't I? The disgusting one. I need to do another because more history stuff because I did my Boudica stuff, didn't I? And then my Vikings, and I've still got Viking stuff. And then we did the Enfield Poltergeist. Oh, that was it, wasn't it? The quick update. Upcoming lives on Ragnar Lothbrok. Bear with me a second. I'm going to see if this is the right one. That's yeah. Can it? Great as you've not. Can you hear the laughing there? This is how bad it got, Janet. Oh God! That's the gingerbread house down. Okay, I'll timestamp this one for you. Tops Igloo's green eyes. Estimated -50. Yeah. Right. It was an Aboriginal night. You know where they try and get all the suckers to eat a witchetty grub and eat a piece. Okay. I think this one, it's a timestamp of about 3:20. 3 hours 20 or thereabouts, I think. About 3:20. Oops. I'm going to echo there. 3 hours 20. Let me knock myself off. Right, here we go. Right, there you are. But yeah, that second one, I don't recall ever laughing that hard for a long, long time. So, but yeah, Enfield, we did it we did 3 parts of Enfield. We did the actual Enfield poltergeist, me and Denny. I think we intended to do the whole thing together, and then Denny couldn't make it. So I did the first part myself. Denny joined me for the second one. And then we were talking about, did you hear the Bill voice? I don't know if you know about that. And we actually discussed about Bill, which was really freaky. So, and there were lots of weird things going on. I think I was losing my sound. It was very weird. In what way, Simples? Isn't laughing weird? Just the do you mean just the way it just comes from nowhere and you can't stop? I think, wasn't that the night when we were talking about people cacking themselves, and then I think didn't I come clean and say something about I'd sharted, and then you got onto it, and then saying, but you did it in black pants, and then yeah, I know, and then Porky started calling you Doberman. I like laughing. Porky's poo catch up was fun. Oh god, oh yeah, the one where when we were in York. That I tell you, I thought he was. I know he would never hit me, but I thought he was going to hit me that day. I think I came really, yeah, like bridesmaids without the dress. It's just the fact that when I was laughing that hard and he's storming up this street in the middle of York going, babe, you're not helping. You're not helping. I've got a turtle's head. And then the other thing I remember, when one of the other things that made me laugh was when Frida was talking about one of her exes that described his ball sack as an old pair of jeans. Looking like, was it an old pair of jeans or cords or something? Yeah, we had a spell, didn't we? We'd start talking about food, and then it would go on to poo, and then automatically we'd just turn into smut. Yeah, these are the type of laughs I like. It's brilliant. I like laughing. I'd just rather laugh because you can spend so much time being annoyed at things that you don't need to be annoyed about. And you know, life's way too short. Life is way too short. Yeah, you'll get more wrinkles. Yeah, we're off in the poo Olympics. Do you know? Right, I'm just gonna flick back onto aliens. You know, we're just talking about the cattle mutilations. Does anybody have any thoughts as to why, when they do these, they mutilate the cattle and they take body parts away? Why do you think they take the bumholes? I mean, genitalia, you know, whatever. But they'll actually laser out these anuses, and I can't think of what use for probing. Yeah, with a Cassius's stinking probe. Dissection for virus. Maybe. It's just I often thought, you know, what use would an anus be? Yeah, very bizarre. But yeah, I've got quite a few of those to discuss on Friday. So maybe it's like, oh God, no, Simples. We're talking American Pie. Radiated cow bumhole is a delicacy in Ursac Minor. Well, you never know. It may be a very valued hunting trophy, a la Predator. You don't want the heads of your rivals, you want the bumhole. Yeah, very, very, very strange though, but yeah, I've got a few of those. I've been reading through some of the Linda Moulton Howe, the cases that she's looked at. There's a really interesting program on YouTube about her where she's going out. It's not at Skinwalker, but it's in kind of that vicinity. Where they're looking at these mutilations, and because she's doing things like taking radiation samples and so on, soil samples. Some of these things where the cattle have been mutilated, the ground never grows again. Plants or grass never ever grows again in those spots, which is bananas. They'd look good on a necklace. Dare you to wear one, Sid? Bumhole necklace. Or simple saying, yeah, they display them on the spaceship walls. Yeah. Maybe even on the toilet walls. Yeah. I mean, a cow bumhole is quite big, isn't it? So it's not going to be like a little, a little chocolate starfish from another creature. It's a significant bumhole. So maybe it is quite a flashy trophy. Who can say? So, right then, guys and gals, and all you lovelies, watchers, lurkers, listeners, participants, and everybody. If I'll call this one to a close now, and we will have they dehydrate them and use them as coasters. Oh no! Ooh! Oh, I'm gone. Annie's off. Stop it! Stop! You've been so good all night, you little shitbag. Behave. Yeah, so we'll do. Obviously, Friday will be a nice long one. Oh, Julia, that's minging. A fry up for breakfast. But yeah, we'll do a longer one on Friday. It's just I've obviously got work in the morning. So Wednesday evenings, Monday evenings, they'll have to be, finished before midnight. But Friday, the world's our lobster. So thank you all so much for being here. I'm glad you liked it, and thank you for joining in and giving me your thoughts and whatnot. Get thinking about your names for incognito night on Friday, and we're going to do a full session on Skinwalker. So I think that should raise a good few topics. I have to see Brandon. Love you all. See you Friday. Oh, thank you, Sid. Please give our love to Nancy. Hope she's all right. Thank you, Simples, Janet, Julia. I don't know where our Frida's gone. And Paula, if you're still listening, lovey, if you're on catch up. Night, God bless. I think I've got everybody. Me Porky, if he's listening at work. I don't know if he is or not. So yeah, I think I covered everyone. Did I say Paula then? Yeah, Simples. Yeah, got you all. All right then, thank you all. And as always, I'll do my usual close. See you all on Friday. But in the meantime, see you all on the bright side.